You see, I'm gonna tell you something. They always want you to, you know what these rappers, all these singers, all these big rappers y'all look up to? They always tell you what the good part about, but they never tell you what the bad part. And that's crazy, man. Yeah, they got all this money, but they dealing with emo spirits. They dealing with killing themselves. They dealing with, man, come on, man. I sold my Lamborghini, I sold my Rolls Royce, I sold my Cadillacs. Yes, sirski. Yes, sirski. Try that thing. Hey, I'm about to beat that charge. Man, what the ain't gonna lie. This thing humble yourself. I ain't gonna cap to you. Got a floss for you, nigga. God, I ain't got a floss for you, nigga, man.
YK Osiris. You've probably seen those clips, haven't you? Just breaking down completely raw, talk about wanting to leave this earth.
Yeah, saying demons are chasing him, feeling totally abandoned by the industry. It feels heavy. Much heavier than just a bad day, you know?
Absolutely. It feels like there's something much darker going on beneath the surface. And the material we've been looking at, well, it suggests exactly that.
It really does. These reports, these claims, they start connecting the dots between what's happening with YK and some really powerful people. It paints a pretty unsettling picture.
Right. So that's what we're diving into. We want to pull out the most striking points from this material, the alleged connections. We're talking YK Osiris, Diddy, Drake.
Laying out the timeline as the sources report it, all these kind of disturbing details. It's about understanding the narrative that's being presented, how deep this rabbit hole supposedly goes.
Exactly. How these pieces allegedly fit together, what it suggests about the whole environment he was apparently in.
So where do we start? The source material seems to really zero in on that trip to Jamaica.
Yeah, that seems key. Reports suggest this was a real turning point. Maybe where YK hit some kind of breaking point, felt ready to talk about alleged dealings, especially involving Diddy around that time.
And the timing, according to these sources, that's what makes it jump out. This was reportedly around 2021.
Okay, and what was happening with YK then?
Well, that's the thing. He was apparently in, serious financial trouble. He'd been posting about it online very openly, said he sold his Lamborghini, his Rolls Royce, his Cadillac.
Wow, okay, I think I remember seeing that. He posted something like, this thing, humble yourself, man, I sold my Lamborghini.
Yeah.
You know? Framing it like he had to cut way back.
Exactly. So someone publicly saying they're broke, selling off assets, and then suddenly they're posting from a luxury villa in Jamaica.
Yeah, that doesn't quite track. The reports say people following him online immediately thought it felt off. It just didn't seem to match his situation.
Definitely raised eyebrows. And the sources detail his social media during this trip. At first, YK's posting pics, making it look like maybe a solo retreat, you know?
Okay.
But then things reportedly get weird. He reposts a photo Diddy had shared Diddy shirtless in a pool. YK adds prayer hands emojis to it.
Okay, interesting. And then
it gets even stranger based on the reports. He allegedly posts a picture that looks like a naked massage situation.
Seriously, what was the caption?
Something like, listening to that Diddy eating that good fruit and the beautiful weather. Yeah, good fruit. All right, anyways. Just odd phrasing.
Yeah, that is odd.
He also posted a picture leaning over fruit, and the speculation online was that maybe Diddy took that photo? You know, the angle, the context.
So people watching this unfold were picking up on a strange vibe.
Immediately. The sources highlight comments from back then. One user apparently said something like, they knew something was up when they didn't see any women or family hinted at, suggesting a man who sponsored the trip.
That's pretty perceptive, just from social media posts. It suggests the whole thing looked less like a regular vacation and more staged or funded.
It adds to that feeling of strangeness, and then it reportedly gets even more intense. YK's baby mama allegedly posts on her story.
Oh, really? What did she say?
Apparently something like, stop asking me what happened with my BD. I caught him with a man. BD meaning baby daddy, of course.
Wow. So according to the sources, that personal claim drops right into the middle of all this online speculation about the Jamaica trip, really amplifying the rumors.
It brings this very personal, very direct accusation into the public conversation that was already swirling.
Okay, so from the trip itself, let's pivot to when these rumors reportedly went mainstream. that Breakfast Club interview.
Yes, the sources definitely flag that as a key moment. Super awkward, apparently. Charlemagne reportedly just asked him straight up about the rumor.
The one about him being Diddy's boy toy in Jamaica.
That's the one. And the reports really focus on the disconnect between YK's words and his reported actions.
How so? He denied it, right?
Oh yeah, he said no, claimed he was actually there with a shawty, and that Diddy was in a totally different part of the villa.
What?
But his body language, according to the sources, told a different story. He was allegedly smiling, but also playing with his hoodie strings, avoiding eye contact, just to look deeply uncomfortable.
Like he was reliving something unpleasant.
That's the description. It came across to many watching as just not convincing, like the denial didn't match the nonverbal cues.
It's those kinds of moments, the reported disconnect that the sources used to suggest maybe something else was really going on.
Yeah.
And this is apparently when Drake's name starts popping up more in relation to YK.
Right. Sources claim there were always quiet whispers about Drake, doing things kind of low-key. But after the Jamaica stuff and that interview, the chatter about Drake allegedly got louder.
And then King that video.
Oh, yeah. The $60,000 bet video,
Yeah.
that one circulated everywhere, and watching it felt uncomfortable for a lot of people based on the reports.
Remind us what happens in it.
It reportedly shows Drake really pressuring YK after YK supposedly lost a $60 K bet to him.
Pressuring him how?
Drake is reportedly saying stuff like, you only 60 bands, meaning $60,000, and you have to perform the song right now in the crib. Just really insisting he perform right then and there because of the debt.
Yeah, that vibe felt off to many. It didn't seem like friendly joshing over a bet, more like pressure, maybe even humiliation.
That's how many viewers interpreted it, and YK reportedly tried to smooth it over later, right? Claiming Drake's his brother. The bets aren't about no money, it's brother love.
But the video itself, it's hard to just see it as brother love when you watch it, based on how it's presented in the source material.
It definitely added fuel to the speculation. And the sources mention another strange video that reportedly surfaced.
What was this one?
YK allegedly doing sit-ups on Drake's private jet.
Setups, like working out.
Well, yeah, but again, the reports emphasize he didn't look like he was just messing around or having fun. He looked, again, really uncomfortable.
And what were people saying online about that one?
The user comments highlighted in the sources are pretty intense. Things like humiliation ritual or some sick stuff be happening that we don't know about off camera. Another said, looks like they be having him doing some strange things.
So the feeling was that it didn't look voluntary, maybe. That something felt coerced or just weirdly performative.
That's the sense you get from the reports and the reactions they cite. These details build this picture. And the alleged strangeness didn't stop. Drake reportedly posted a picture of YK with a new haircut.
Okay. What's weird about a haircut?
It was apparently very similar to Drake's own Certified Lover Boy era haircut, like almost identical.
Huh. Drake posted it.
Yeah, and the caption, according to reports, was kind of challenging, like, only I can do this, me and the boys stop, almost like claiming ownership or something.
Okay, that's a layer.
And then, not long after that, YK reportedly gets a tattoo of Drake's OVO owl logo on his leg.
The OVO owl. Wow. So the haircut, the tattoo, the source basically notes that the whole vibe around YK, his appearance, his interactions, it just kept getting stranger and stranger during this period.
It's like one odd thing after another, according to these accounts, and it all seems to be leading somewhere, right? Towards those public breakdowns YK had.
Yeah, that's where the sources suggest the real depth of whatever he was going through maybe started to surface publicly. That Instagram live.
Oh man, yeah. The reports describe him just completely breaking down, saying he wanted to die, to leave this earth.
So incredibly painful to hear. He talked about feeling totally alone too, right? Like no friends in the industry.
Exactly. And then the really chilling part talking about demons chasing him.
And the sources emphasize this didn't feel like clout chasing or anything performative. It sounded like genuine raw pain.
Utter despair, yeah. And he apparently didn't leave it there. Later, he reportedly went on another rant, but this time aimed more broadly at the music industry itself.
What did he say then?
Some really heavy claims, according to the reports. He allegedly said a lot of rappers lie about being blessed by God, that they're actually worshiping something else.
Bro.
Yeah. He reportedly said the music industry wasn't what God want me to do, but something he felt he had to do for his family. And then this really dark line. The devil want you to go through to destroy yourself.
Jeez. So these rants, combined with everything else, the Jamaica trip, the videos, the rumors, This is reportedly where that dark theory really starts to take hold.
Exactly. Media outlets, people commenting online, they reportedly started connecting these dots to something potentially far more sinister than just, standard industry pressures or bad luck.
Okay, so unpack that theory for us. How is it presented in the source material?
The theory, as it's discussed in these reports, is this idea of a twisted elite ritual. The claim is that powerful figures allegedly manipulate younger, upcoming artists.
Through what means?
Using things like lavish trips, like maybe that Jamaica trip gifts, seeming mentorship to gain their trust, get them into the inner circle.
Okay, gain trust, and then what?
And then the theory alleges they prey on the energy of younger men through certain ritualistic acts.
Prey on their energy. What does that even mean?
The belief, according to this theory, is that doing this allows the powerful figures to maintain their own youthfulness, their status, stay on top in the industry. It's this alleged energy transfer concept.
And this is reportedly what was being whispered about Diddy's parties.
That's the connection the sources make. Those infamous parties were allegedly hubs for this kind of activity. And the theory posits that YK Osiris might have become entangled in this, maybe as a sacrifice or a victim of this alleged system.
That is deeply disturbing stuff. The sources also mention a psychic, Sloan Bella, weighing in.
Yes, she reportedly spoke about it publicly, and the sources note she was careful to clarify something specific.
What was that?
That in her view, this wasn't about Diddy's sexuality per se. It was about, and this is her reported term, ritualistic sexual deviancy used to harness energy of a human being.
So she's framing it not as sexual orientation, but as alleged specific acts used for a kind of dark energetic purpose.
Precisely, according to her reported comments. And she added another really serious claim.
Which was?
That Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner who passed away, allegedly knew about these practices and was writing a tell-all book about it before she died.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
If that's true.
Yeah. Sloan Bella reportedly stressed that, from her perspective, it's all about harnessing spiritual energy through dark ritualistic acts.
These are some wild, deeply unsettling claims coming from the source material, and they note a real impact on YK's career after all this, right?
Absolutely. The sources point out his career was actually doing pretty well, seemed to be on the rise before all these alleged events, the breakdowns, the rants, but afterwards, reportedly, never the same.
It just stalled out.
Seems like it. There's a user comment highlighted in the material that kind of sums up the feeling around this theory. It says something like, they always felt Diddy stole talent, but now they think he literally harnessed their energy on a spiritual level and left all of his artists with nothing.
Wow, that directly echoes that harnessing energy idea the psychic mentioned.
It really does. It shows how intense and dark these theories became, stemming from all these reported events surrounding YK.
Okay, so before we look ahead, there's another name the sources bring in as playing an earlier role, Ray J.
Yes, the reports claim Ray J was actually one who introduced YK Osiris to Diddy in the first place.
So potentially the person who made that connection.
That's how it's presented in these accounts, the potential link into that whole circle.
And he pops up again later, right? After the Jamaica trip.
Yeah, months later. He reportedly showed up in the Dominican Republic for YK's birthday.
Okay, birthday trip. Anything notable happened there?
Well, Ray J was reportedly caught on video talking about money, saying there were a lot of bags to get when you brainstorming amongst creative minds. He called it bag talk. In that context, it felt a bit charged to some observers.
Right. But how did YK seem during this birthday trip? Still off.
Apparently, yeah. According to comments cited in the sources, users watching videos from that trip said YK didn't look happy, that his energy seemed so damper.
So even on his birthday trip, something felt wrong.
That's the impression given. One comment highlighted in the sources even claimed Ray J barely treated him like human, seemed more focused on the bag talk and other people there than YK.
So it kind of continues that alleged pattern of YK being in these situations but seeming uncomfortable or secondary?
It seems to fit that narrative the sources lay out. And the material also briefly mentions other controversies Ray J has reportedly been linked to over the years, allegations involving supplying substances, making threats, things like that.
The implication seems to be about the kind of company YK was allegedly keeping and the environment he found himself in.
Yeah, adds another dimension to the cast of characters and alleged patterns surrounding YK during this really tough period described in the reports.
So bringing it to the present, where does all this leave YK Osiris now, according to the source material? What's the latest claim?
The big thing right now, according to these reports, is that with Diddy facing all his legal battles and public scrutiny, YK Osiris is allegedly ready to talk, ready to break his silence.
Really? About what specifically?
About what really went down behind the scenes, is how the sources put it. Insiders are reportedly claiming he's prepared to speak out.
And does he supposedly have anything to back up his story?
That's the claim. That he's been holding onto receipts, messages, voice notes, and contracts.
Wow, if that's true, that could be explosive.
Potentially, yeah. It suggests he might have collected evidence related to whatever he allegedly experienced or witnessed during that time.
And the sources suggest he might not be alone in wanting to talk now.
Right. They hint that others, maybe other artists or people involved who saw similar things, might also be thinking about coming forward now that, as the source puts it, the empire is crumbling.
It makes you wonder if YK's story, as disturbing as the claims are, might just be the tip of the iceberg.
It certainly raises that possibility that this could be part of a much larger hidden narrative within the music industry.
Okay, let's try and wrap our heads around this. We've gone through the reported timeline, the strange Jamaica trip, that awkward Breakfast Club interview, the alleged pressure from Drake in those videos, YK's heartbreaking public breakdowns, these incredibly dark theories about rituals and energy harnessing, Ray J's alleged involvement.
It paints a really complex, deeply unsettling picture based on these accounts. An artist reportedly caught in a very difficult, maybe dangerous situation within the industry.
Absolutely. And these stories, I mean, if they're true, they shine a light on intense pressures and potentially hidden abusive aspects of the music world that the public almost never gets to see.
For sure. That user comment we mentioned earlier really sticks with you. Humiliation ritual. Some sick stuff be happening that we don't know about off camera.
It perfectly captures that feeling the sources leave you with, that there might be this dark reality hidden just beneath the shiny surface of fame.
It resonates strongly with the alleged patterns of manipulation and control discussed in the reports.
So here's the final thought, building on the source material. If YK Osiris really does have these alleged receipts, messages, voice notes, and contracts, like the insiders claim,
Yeah.
and considering the ominous question the sources themselves raise, will he live long enough to tell it all? What does the future actually hold for him if these reports hold weight?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If he has that evidence, if he speaks out, the potential fallout is huge. For him, for the powerful figures named, maybe for the industry's reputation itself. It really makes you wonder how much more there is to this story and if we'll ever truly know the full extent of it.